Hey guys, Ponce here, and there's a lot of information on Riot Games' new FPS Valorant, so I'm going to just let the new gameplay footage roll without my interruption right now, and we'll talk about the implications and all this new information in a bit. See you guys in a sec.
Keep taking this seriously, even if they
Can I get a gun? Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm gonna get the orbit A again. I'll have my ult.
Y'all notice? It's real quiet in here. Quiet, like a library out here.
Oh gosh.
Should we do it? Should we go? I think Kuzi gassed himself out.
Sometimes it happens, you know?
Outside garage. That garage, yeah.
Keelan, will you have to cover my body if I use it up here? Oh, nice start.
embarrassing.
Drone. Nice kill. The door. Need help? Nah, I'm good.
That was really good. Close.
Alright.
Up sewer.
Sova in mid. Could I help? No. I'm gonna lean A here. You think they're coming?
Blocking sight.
No.
They got B, they got B. Res?
That's
It's fine, it's fine.
long A.
Sewer, right? They got B. I can help you get out. Hey.
I'm out.
One mid? One still in grass. I'm just ulting your front of B.
Big frag,
I'm gonna
dude.
drone outside of A-Lon just to check.
I
Welcome
want
to
it.
my
Let's see,
world.
let's see, let's see. I've got dags we can retake together.
Also have dart.
Oh, get me out of here!
Okay, okay, put the other one. I'm gonna go this way with dags.
Let me go first with my dart.
So,
There they are.
Guys walking in the corners.
See one
Oh,
of them?
Wow. Close left.
Impact.
Alright, let's do this. One in the smoke cloud.
One enemy left.
Alright,
let's
let's
go,
go.
all together, all together. Let's
He was right here.
Player standing.
Oh, not like this.
Nicely played, Silva.
What? The raid boss.
Oh my, no, not like this!
Not like this!
Okay, okay. Let's get that bolt. Thank you.
Alright, hey guys, I'm back. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on there. You can glean a lot of information based off of just this thing if you pay kind of close attention to various spots. And I got some notes here. Some important things to, I don't know, focus in on. Now, before we get into that, I suppose you guys can probably see it's a very kind of, I don't know, how do I want to phrase this? It seems like it's kind of a mishmash of CSGO and a bit of Overwatch kind of thing, but closer to the CSGO side of things. Kind of like how when I'm talking about Legends of Runeterra, I always kind of compare it to whether is Spectra, Magic the Gathering to Hearthstone, but it's slightly closer to Magic the Gathering. In that sort of sense, yeah, it's like CSGO to Overwatch, but it's like closer to CSGO. That's my impression, anyway. Given how how quick the damage gets kicked out and that kind of thing, it's maybe a bit less ability intensive. I don't know. Ability seem pretty important, but in any case, let's go right to the 9-second mark here. Oops, back ways a little bit. So there's a buy screen here. If you pause it here, you can see all this stuff yourself. But there's like a secondary, or rather, there's your primary weapon, your secondary weapon. There's an armor thing, so you can either get light shields or heavy shields. Presumably, they're just one stronger than the other. I don't know anything beyond that. The other noteworthy thing, however, is it looks like you buy charges for your abilities, and as far as I'm aware, abilities are character locked. So whatever this character is called here has these abilities, I would imagine, and you can see. You go backwards here. This person currently has 5,500, whatever this currency is. They hover over this. It says 100. These are full. They click on that, and they get a charge in that. So, but obviously, prices probably are going to vary quite a bit between now and whatever launches, given this is alpha footage. But it looks like ability charges are fairly cheap. And yeah, that's just how that's going to work. Now, the next noteworthy thing is we jump ahead to the 12 to 13 second mark here. And if you listen to the audio, you hear someone requesting, like they want a weapon or something. And you note here that there's a request thing. So it's kind of some sort of in-game feature, kind of like, you know, how in CSGO, I think you just buy and then drop it on the ground and someone picks something up. It looks like there's a bit more kind of an automated in-game system for this. So this person kind of goes ahead and then clicks on the buy. It gets purchased. Now there's something a little bit weird that happens here. So they buy it and their money doesn't go down, you notice, but if you pay close attention to when they previously buy something, when they bought that ability and went down by 100, there was actually a bit of a delay. So I don't think this is free if I had to guess, unless there's some kind of you can purchase stuff every once in a while for a teammate for free rule. But given the timing, because this menu like closes right after they buy it, previously when they had purchased the charge, what had happened was a word item purchase has to come back up and then the money went down. So presumably they just closed the menu before this had actually updated. So I'm assuming they actually lost that money. Okay, just kind of a small note, not super important, I suppose. But next here we have at the 25-second mark. Let's try and go back to maybe the 24-second. It's mainly the queue here. You'll notice some of the players have different hotkey layouts. Obviously you can, you know, customize your hotkeys, but this person's queue, there are 2 charges there, then they're going to go ahead and use that. Well, let's go back a little bit further so we're not all rushed, but watch this person's queue. There's 2 charges. They use that for like this high jump thing to get up on a weird piece of terrain, presumably they otherwise wouldn't be able to get up onto, and charge goes down. So pretty simple system there. Next point of note, we are going over to the 38-second mark. So let's just let this play out a bit. Now, this is kind of confusing because the person goes over here. It looks like they're charging something up on the screen, right? Like that. And then something shows up there, and then there's like a smoke screen. That's not, I don't think that's actually his ability, because if you look really closely, one of his ability things like moves. But it looks like this is actually just something on the ground. It's some kind of pickup. I don't obviously know the system and how this works, but there's some kind of orb here that he picks up, and it looks like it just refreshes his W. It gives him a charge. And then this is someone else casting some kind of smoke screen, unrelated to this guy. Also of note, in a second here, we're going to see like one of those Hansel, you know, spot the person things, a sight arrow or whatever you want to call it. He spots a person out there because of a teammate's ability. They synergize. They kill this dude here. Next point of note, we're going to jump ahead to the 59-second mark, where someone is just going to die. The person whose point of view we're looking at, they're dead, but there's a pretty detailed kind of post-death recap thing going on here. It shows the damage dealt, the damage that, you know, was dealt to you, what weapon they were using, where the shots landed. So this person, you know, if I'm reading this right, landed 1 shot on the body on this person, didn't do too much damage, and they took 4 shots to the body and got murdered. So you can either be a headshot, a body shot, or a leg shot, looks like. Presumably headshot's the most, body shot's the medium, and then leg shot I'm going to assume is the least. I don't know if there's any kind of, you know, debuff effect based on, you know, shot location, who knows, but we'll find out eventually. Okay, next we are going to jump ahead to the 131 mark because there's a lot going on here. So this is where you're going to hear, I'm going to assume this is some kind of ult, and I don't know what the condition is for the ult. I don't think, if I had to guess, it's probably not a coincidence that the last person uses something very ult-like, because it seems like a very powerful ability. So presumably the last person up gets to do something extra, or there's some kind of system there. But you're going to hear...
Let's see.
Okay, we got to go back a bit, because he kind of yells it loudly.
One mid. One still on grass. I'm just ulting your front of B.
Big frag,
I'm gonna
dude.
drone outside of Elon just to check.
Welcome to
That thing there.
Let's see.
So presumably that's like, you know, in Overwatch when you hear like, I'll take you crowd, and then like a dragon comes flying across the screen, that kind of thing. I'm assuming that's what that is. And then we see this kind of go forward, and it seems to be some kind of poison cloud thing. So it's a neat ability. It does ticking damage. You see this person's life is just ticking down, and then they run the hell out. And then their life just kind of goes back to where it was. Let's just double check here. So it doesn't do anything permanent, right? So they were at, well, actually it might be a bit permanent. So they were at 100, ran the hell out. Oh no, it looks like they got clipped by a bit of damage inside. So that's why they go back up to 91, because they look like they were standing on acid or something briefly. Notice their armor went down. So yeah, this looks like it's not permanent damage. So once you get out of there, you get the health back. And but again, it looks fairly powerful. They try and use some kind of spotting, you know, Hanzo eye thing there again. And the other noteworthy thing is about to come up here, so I'm going to turn the volume back on at... Oh, it already happened. It's actually at 35. Okay, so we'll just go back a second.
Retake together.
No, that spike planted right there, and you start hearing the ticking.
Oh, get me out of here!
Okay.
So it's like the CSGO bomb mode, essentially. So the terrorists planted the bomb, essentially. And then, you know, of course, the game plays out as you saw. So we don't need to say it again. If you want to see it again in detail, you can go watch. Oh, by the way, I'll put the link in the description below. For those of you interested, so you can watch the video at your own leisure. The other noteworthy thing is there is currently a website for this thing now. There's not a lot of information here. Probably the most important thing is this bit here. Here's what we think it takes for you to trust a game enough to invest 128 tick servers. And then I guess to an extent, at least 30 FPS or frames per second on most minimum spec computers, even dating back a decade, 60 to 144 FPS on modern gaming rigs, a global spread of data centers aimed at greater or less than 35 ms for players in major cities around the world, a netcode we've been obsessing over for years, and a commitment to anti-cheat from day one. So seems like the idea should be like the game's going to be very responsive here. So yeah, that's kind of that. Just sort of let this play in the background. I'll also put a link to this website below. Again, there's not a lot here yet, but it's there. So yeah, don't really have too much to add beyond that. As I said, I think the main takeaway here is that this is very, very CSGO-like, but almost like with Overwatch sprinkling on top kind of thing. Again, I haven't played this, so I don't know. You know, I can't say for sure, but I definitely get a very strong impression that that's kind of what's happening here. So, also of note, I suppose, it's going to be released in summer of 2020. That was the announcement. I don't know about any kind of beta details or anything, but yeah, there you have it. That's Valorant. As soon as I have more information for you guys, I'll be happy to bring it to you. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.